So the Surgeon General just put out a statement this week about parental stress being a crisis. This is not new information to us.
Definitely not new information.
So let's talk about it. I'm Dr. Nichelle Haynes.
I'm Dr. Kristen Lassiter.
And we're Medical Mamas. This is your place for evidence-based information about your reproductive mental health.
Meaning mental health related to reproductive hormone changes like around pregnancy, postpartum, menopause, premenstrual disorders, and infertility.
So it's not new information, as we've been saying this forever. But I'm really glad to have, sorry, to interrupt you.
No, I interrupted you.
No. But I'm really excited to see that the things that we talk about are getting some attention from medical professionals and sort of the world at large, because it's so important.
Absolutely. I think that parent mental health has been an important factor for a long time, but I think it is getting worse because people aren't necessarily putting much weight on it, but society and all the stressors of being a parent are actually getting harder.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So there were some reports that were done in 2023 looking at parents versus other adults, and they found that 33% of parents reported increased stress compared to 20% of other adults.
Yeah, so they said they had really high levels of stress. And I think the other component of that was that, 48% of parents reported that their stress was completely overwhelming compared to 26% of other adults. And that completely overwhelming statement, I mean, that resonates for me at times where it's like, how am I supposed to do all of these things? And, how am I supposed to parent well and do all these things I need to do to pay my bills?
Yeah, and we hear this all the time with our patients. People come in saying that they're completely overwhelmed, and then you talk about the circumstances that are going on. And honestly, for me, sometimes it feels like there's nothing I can do really because a medication isn't going to necessarily fix this. Like it's the circumstances in which we're living that make it really hard.
Oh, I know, it's such a defeating feeling when it's like, I have a reasonable mortgage, but my daycare costs more than my mortgage and I have to work, but then the amount that I make and then daycare takes up this much, I don't have a whole lot to live on after that. But yeah. So, okay, let's talk about the things that kind of fell in those categories of like things that were increasing stress. What did he say?
Yeah. So financial stressors were one of the big ones with the economy and inflation and just poverty in general. That has really put a lot of stress on parents and, in situations like what Michelle just described.
Mm-hmm. Right. So also in that realm was not financial support, just like general social support. Mm-hmm. Really hard when you're spending so much of your time working to be able to afford life. And then kids take up so much of your time. Like, where do you fit in having relationships? And then, if we don't live in communities like we used to. So it's like
villages.
Yeah, right. In villages, really, literally. Yeah. We can't just like drop our kids off with our cousin or, with our parents or whatever to receive support in that way. I think social support is a huge one.
Yeah, a lot of parents feeling isolated and lonely. That's a very common issue that increases parental mental illness.
Mm-hmm. But I think worries about children's safety and health was one of the other things that people reported was important to contributing to their stress, right? So I think I don't know if we're allowed to say it, pew-pews. Being around, I think we're worried about sending our children to school and we don't really have any other choice. We want them to get educated. So it's just increasing stress without any resolution to the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And then cultural pressures too. A lot of people feel like they have to do everything. They feel like their kids need to be involved in all these different activities, but they also need to be, making great grades and getting into this school or that school. And just the parents too, like you should be a working mom. No, you should be a stay-at-home mom. You should do this and you should do that. And it's just, we're inundated with these messages of things that really aren't realistic.
And that ties into one of the other things that people mentioned, was that social media was a component of their stress. And I think in social media, you see how those cultural pressures come in, right? You see someone who has like this curated view of life, or, you see something like Ballerina Farm, or you see something where parents look like they're just like, everything's great. And we know that social media is not real, but you're still seeing that message. So I think that ties into the cultural pressures that people are seeing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then what was the other one? Time?
Time.
We just don't have enough of it.
Yeah, time demands on parents.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard. So hard.
Yeah, especially when you don't have support. It's like, my kids are hanging on me. When am I supposed to make a meal?
When am I supposed to clean the house?
When am I sleep when the baby sleeps?
Yeah, no.
Wash the dishes when the baby washes the dishes.
Yeah. Whereas back in the day, we'd have like a community so all the kids could go play together while, parents got things done. Our grandparents could watch them, or, aunts and uncle. I mean, it's not like parenting in isolation the way that we do in modern day society, especially here in the United States, where, people kind of live far away from their families more often than not. It just makes time hard.
And I think that ties into one of the really important points that we wanted to make, is that these are problems that we have created and can be fixed. These are not inherent problems with parents that they're unable to cope with stress. These are related to problems that can be fixed, right? If we're talking about poor social support, we can create community. If we talk about financial strain, we can work on solutions towards making daycare more affordable. We can work on solutions for parents to be able to work and still have disposable income. Like, there are lots of ways that we can, as a society, prioritize families and parents and kids.
Yeah, and I will say, like, the big one being child safety and health. Like, we can do more to protect our kids in school. We can also do more to support our kids' mental health. And that kind of ties into, there's been like this teen mental health crisis going on also. And I think it's only natural that those two go hand in hand. As we've mentioned before in videos, parents' mental health greatly influences children's health and development, including their mental health.
Right. So we know that when parents have postpartum depression, that can lead to increased risk for developmental delays for the child. And that's not to put blame on anyone or anything, but we see these correlations, right? It's not always that it leads to developmental delays, but it increases the risk. And when you're talking about a huge population of people, an increase in risk means that it is happening more. And that means downstream, kids are impacted more. And that means downstream, those kids need more care. That it costs money. That we're just perpetuating the problem here. So parents' mental health is extremely important to have happy, well-adjusted kids who are doing their best.
And then that is important for society in general as a whole. It just benefits all of us if we pay attention to mental health for parents and children, and of course, everyone in general. But yeah, it really you can kind of see the impacts it has on society.
Right. Everyone came from a parent.
That's true.
Everyone was a kid at one point. This is something that impacts everyone, whether you're a parent now or not. Your spouse had a parent. Your spouse was a kid at one time. Your friends, your coworkers, everyone was a kid and everyone had a parent. This is a whole societal problem, not just for parents.
Right.
Because everyone who is a parent has a kid now that's going to be part of a bigger society. Oh my God.
So definitely check out our earlier videos on how to support your mental health, especially postpartum, but also, in pregnancy and supporting other, your friends' mental health as they're going through this as well. We have lots of great content on that, so check it out.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. Please comment, subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Bye.